And we are live. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to A Certain Point of View on a Monday evening. It is a Monday. Hashtag what day is it? Welcome, everybody. Hope everyone is doing great out there. Hope everyone's week was started off fantastic today. It is the crew. We are back. Obviously, you all know that we skipped yesterday because of the Oscars. And lo and behold, we probably didn't have to because of the Oscars. So, but we are here. It's a Monday for POV, and my goodness, was it a week in Schmoedown last week that we are definitely going to be getting into, talking about it. And of course, as the thumbnail says, we will have the GOAT himself, Dangerous Dan Murrell, will be joining us about the 6:30 hour, about 20, 25 minutes or so. You'll see him pop in here for a bit. But with that, crew, we've had a full weekend since we've been on the air. How's everybody doing? How was Saturday? How was Sunday? Everyone doing good?
I'm good. I mean, Saturday was the free-for-all, so I ate a lot of food.
I mean, we weren't on the air. We weren't on the air, but we were also on the air, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, it's fair. Also, I like Jacob's comment.
I was just So I'm saying, I mean, we could have got more views apparently than the Oscars yesterday.
Oof is definitely a good oof.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch it, and I heard about it.
I was literally about to say I didn't watch it. Sounds like I'm glad I didn't watch it.
I knew it was going to be some sort of disaster. I had no excitement towards this. I've always loved watching the Oscars, like always.
Yeah.
But this year, it felt totally off. Felt totally
Hot
different.
Mess Express.
And apparently, it was a total disaster. So
I watched a scary movie instead.
I'm so proud of you.
And but guess what? I watched the sequel today.
Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, which movie?
Scream.
I thought you were watching the scary movies. I was like,
no.
Wait, Brian, have you seen the scary movies?
Yeah, no, I've seen like all of them. So it's funny doing it in reverse because I'm like, the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this is the part in Scary Movie where they make fun of this scene. Oh, this is where this came from in Scary Movie. So it's like I did it backwards. So it's, it kind of made it a little bit more enjoyable. And I like Ghostface. He's always an idiot killer. Like, he's a bad
Were you scared watching it at all?
No, I wasn't scared. If anything, I was just like...
Okay, then it's not a scary movie.
It's a thriller.
It's a thriller.
I'm also watching it at like 3:00 in the afternoon or something. So
with all the windows open.
So I mean, but it was funny because like he gets beat up a lot in those movies, like, and so it's kind of funny, and you hear him just going, "Oh, no!"
Yes,
like
it's the best. So
it makes it funnier. I mean, honestly, the gory part is just always the opening scene, and the rest is just like normal, like over. So it wasn't horrible.
I'd say because I actually watched Dan's video about the Oscars. He did like a whole breakdown video about it. So if you want to know what happened, it was someone in the chat said it was fine up until the end there. So go watch Dan's video about it.
Also, I want to say while he's in the chat, look what came in today.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Oh, it looks so good.
Oh, it does look good.
Got my Brian Ward pod racing shirt.
That's not the only one, but that's the one that I want the most out of the bunch of he's posted.
I got the Dexter's Diner one. I got that one too. The Dexter's Diner. So
that's awesome.
Scott and I got that one.
I just ordered a Make Solo 2 Happen shirt.
Nice.
So I'm on that train. Not to mention a bunch of Funkos. So what? The Falcon and Captain America and the Winter Soldier ones got.
There you go. Hashtag my Captain America.
Okay, Funko needs to stop doing exclusive ones because people are just blowing them up and then they just scalp them. It's like I had to like
that's with everything.
I had to set up alerts. It was harder to get this than it was a PS5. The Captain America with the wings. It's ridiculous.
Nothing's harder than getting a PS5.
No, I'm dead serious. I had an easier time. I tried one time, got a PS5, got lucky.
That's fair. You got lucky your first time trying.
Yeah, it took me 3 times today to get a freaking bobblehead with wings. Ugh.
Okay, well, let's talk about something that might cheer Brian up just a little bit. Let's get into some free for all, guys, because we'll talk about it before Dan gets here, and he'll be here in about 20 minutes or so. My goodness, did we get a beautiful event known as Free for All 4? We didn't have it last year, unfortunately, got canceled because it was right at the beginning of the pandemic. Stuff started happening. They just had to pull the plug on it. So we got the first ever fully digital free for all. So let's just talk real quick about our overall thoughts and then kind of get into some players' performances and obviously the winner, Mr. Paul Oyama, primetime time. Congratulations to him.
If you didn't know, spoiler alert now.
I mean, if you're watching this, I'm assuming that you've watched the free.
The thumbnail says free for all recap, guys. I'm sorry, that sucks.
I think we're fine.
Jill, I'll let you start this one off. What'd you think about this big old event that we had?
This just continues to prove why Free for All is my favorite Schmoedown pay-per-view. It's my favorite event of the year, and this just continued to prove why it is. We had so many WTF moments where all of us, you'll see our reactions later, all of us were just like, what the heck is happening? We had 2 board clears, 2, we had Bibbs do it again, we had it done by one, the Aussie, Jake Blunden. Congratulations on that amazing achievement. That was amazing.
We have a reaction that will come out with that once everything is public for it. So.
We did a reaction for that one. And it was there wasn't anything I disliked about this. There were so many moments. Adam Collins and Dan Murrell got eliminated at the same time. That was nuts. It was just pure insanity. We got some overtime. We had I can go on and on about how much I love this pay-per-view. It was so freaking good. And then just Paul's reaction at the end of it when he realized, oh my God, I won, was just perfection. And then I called him right afterward and he texted me and just was laughing his butt off over my ecstatic voicemail that I left him. It was great. It was so amazing. And kudos to Ben for winning the MVP. I wish we could have 2 free-for-alls in a year, to be honest.
I agree. That'd be amazing. But I will say, if
everyone behind the scenes is screaming at you,
but I will say to Jill's point, 2 free-for-alls would be great, but it would be cool. And if they did it last year, if they did one big one and then a themed one.
Like a horror free-for-all.
Just a miniature version, maybe 20 people, something like that, and you shrink it down a little bit. But we'll see if that happens later on this year. Brian, mistake me if I'm wrong, did Bateman go 13 rounds? Is that what it was?
14.
14 rounds. 14 rounds. So that's
at least that's what Frank was saying.
Yeah, I think that's definitely deserving of the MVP. Molly, what about you? I mean, obviously we had the surprise of your husband showing up. My
Number
goodness.
40.
That was so hard to keep a secret, and it was so funny seeing your guys' reactions to who's left? Who's the last person? And Alex comes in there do.
Well, and what's funny is we all knew that it was going to be a star because we had been counting throughout watching.
No.
To
know what was
I know we're
on.
These 2 rundown kids over here. You 2
So when we were watching and we're like, okay, there's one person left, it's a star. I thought it was going to be Brandon Hanna because Brandon Hanna always finds his way into things. He made the most sense, and all of a sudden you just see Alex's face pop up. We're like, okay.
With his emotional support belt.
Yeah.
That Brandon Hanna is a sneaky snake, so of course we thought he was going to get in there.
Yeah.
He wanted to throw his hat into the ring and just give it a try. Ever since he did that championship exhibition
where he did really
match,
well in,
where he did really well, and he was doing well the whole time, kind of playing along too. So he just got a couple of unlucky questions that he didn't know, but he was just excited to be a part of it. This was actually the first time I had ever seen a free-for-all happen live. So that was exciting, and I got to see a bunch of really fun dungeon moments,
lots of dungeon moments.
Ben and Mara clearing the board. That was pretty great.
Yeah.
Knocking out Snyder,
I think was one of them. I don't know.
Brendan.
Brendan was definitely one of them. I know for sure what the ones that Bibbs did because it was a 5-headed, ginormous, just table. It was Irwin.
It was the table with all the champions on it.
It was Irwin and Draco, Murrell
Ethan and
Merle Adam. Yeah. It was the champions table.
And then
it was all current or former
and
champions.
Jacob's was Liz, Griffin, Jacoby, and Bibbs.
Yeah, the big one is Bibb. Bibb cleared someone, and he got cleared. And I think that might have been one of the biggest moments, just because this is like Bibb's event. This is like his thing, right? He always finds a way to get towards the end. And we weren't even halfway through, and both the previous winner and Bibbs, who has been the MVP like almost every single time, were out of it. They were gone. And Adam Collins was done. Ethan Irwin was done. And it was strange because, it's a random draw of numbers, but it felt like every major hitter was in the first 20. And then you had the random ones, like the Oyama showed up, the Bateman showed up. Blunden did great. You had some rookies pop in there. But
Griffey Newman did amazing.
Griffey Nooms
showed up for free for all.
There was a point where I went, he might go to the end. Like I
had that feeling too.
A couple of times I was sitting there going, is he going to go to the end? Because he's like barely missing.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, he only ended up lasting 5 rounds, but still like he was solid in each of those rounds. So I was
and Jen Kemp too. Jen Kemp.
Oh, I loved Jen.
We were all rooting. I think all of us were like, "Go Jen!" Like we were like rooting for Jen to just like make it to the end. And
I think seeing all the rookies that were in this was so cool to see just how well they did. Like we said, Griffey Nooms, Blunden, Kim did really well.
I was just going to highlight Leo's comment. First time we've ever seen her, and she did great.
She did really well.
She killed it.
And that's the thing, like with the free for all, it's you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Real quick, Brian, I'm going to read a couple Streamlabs that we got just real quick, and I'll go to you next. First one, actually, the next two come from Dragon 17. First one, it's a Flirt and Flouse versus Damon singles revenge exhibition match. Make it happen, Harloff. And then
I want to know what Alex would do.
At first, I rolled my eyes. I rolled my eyes for a second there, and I went, "Well, actually, that actually might be pretty good."
I'm sure Alex would be down with doing that.
I just want to know how he'd react to that character. Like, I just want to know what he would do. I need it now. I need this.
Next one from Dragon says, Molly, who do you get along with the most in the dungeon?
I mean, they're all like family to me at this point. I can't just pick one.
You can't pick a favorite.
Yeah, I can't pick favorites.
All right, Brian, what did you think of this bad boy? Because if I'm not mistaken, this was the first one that you got to watch as it was released without having to go back and watch it, correct?
Yeah. So because when 3 was going on is when you started to get me into it, and I remember you and Gabby went to go see it, and so I
were you at that free for all too, Jay? Okay,
I wasn't.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't either.
You weren't there.
I've never been to a free for all. I was supposed to go to last year's.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hadn't seen
pandemic.
Yeah. So I hadn't seen it live. So last year would have been my first one, and then so this was my first actual one. I mean, I got to see horror. It's funny because horror was technically like my first live free for all, and I kind of got hooked off that horror one because it was just like so fast paced and everything's happening, and it was just so good. And so I was very excited for this because clearly we saw just anyone could show up. And I think that for me, that was the most fun, is never knowing who you're going to get. And we made our predictions, and there were names that came out that none of us said, like at all.
Jesse Swift.
Jesse Swift.
Yeah, Jesse was one.
It's a surprising amount of IG people.
Yeah,
there was a lot of IG people.
Big time.
I'm like trying to go look at my list. We said maybe Alonzo would show up, and it was cool to see him. Beth May showing up. A lot of new people, but at the same time, there were ones that like I was bummed I didn't get to see. Yeah, Saul. Saul was another one. And of course, I mean, there were ones that I was bummed and kind of shocked that I didn't get to see from certain teams. So I'm very
Trini.
no Rachel.
She was one of the ones that I was really looking forward to seeing.
Me too.
No King Khan.
No Khan.
So I'm very curious. I would love to pick the brains of the managers and go like, what was your thought process behind this? Because like, I mean, there could be a strategy, or they could just be like, go for it.
It's also, I mean, some of the players might not want to do it, and some might really want to do it over some others. So
well, and it's also a really good chance for managers to not just push people maybe we haven't seen, but also allow people to kind of have a little fun. Like, perfect example was Alex. Perfect example was Jesse Swift, right? People that aren't typically going to compete in a singles division style of game or teams, they can go out there and the questions are catered enough to where there's a chance. Like Jesse lasted, I think, 2 or 3 rounds.
He lasted a round.
Oh, he lasted.
He played 2.
So okay, so he lasted 1 round and got knocked out the second round.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's a chance for people to kind of just go out there, have a little fun. There's a lot of managers that took that chance on just putting people out there. And then the perfect example of seeing someone new was Kim Taylor Foster, who had never seen before. She lasted for a number of rounds.
Yeah.
She got a perfect round one of the time. She was totally crushing it. It's just a really cool event. It's the most diverse event that we have in the league in general. I mean, you get 40 competitors from all factions through this entire thing that's coordinated so beautifully. And you could tell the players were also having a lot of fun. Like there was back and forth between them all. It wasn't super serious. There was like laughing involved, and there was respect between everybody. So yeah, I'm just so happy this event's back, because that year absence was a total sucker. It just sucked.
It was.
Yeah. And it was so cool because, I mean, there were names you're like, oh, and then they're out the first time they play. Like Dan
lasted 1 round.
Yeah. And so same with Draco.
That's insane. And Draco, like, it's
Parker. I thought, maybe Parker's.
Oh yeah, Parker showed up. That's right. Yeah, Parker.
Yeah. So like, it was just like wild. I thought Goddard got to take JTE out with him.
And you could tell that's all he wanted to do. That is,
he just wanted to take JTE out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's funny because there were like the past 2 weeks, a couple matches that were actual like normal singles matches that had just happened. Jacob and Jacoby, Ben and JTE, and it was just like seeing them try to take each other out, get their revenge. Like it was just so much fun from the second it started to the second it ended.
Real quick, we have 1 super chat and 1 Streamlabs that have come through. I want to get to these real quick. First one comes from Mr. Timson. Fun fact: all winners of the free for all came from the final 10 competitors. Seems like it's a sweet spot to have the best chance. And this is good to point out because this is the exact reason why the winner doesn't get points.
Correct.
Because they have the better chance. Like that's just how the odds shake out. And then the next,
which it's funny because the odds shook out to the team that just happens to have the biggest lead in the standings.
Yeah. And then our Streamlab has come from Billy P, Master of Puns.
Hi, Billy.
This one's for Dan, so never mind. I'll say this for Dan. Never mind. Yeah, go ahead, guys.
I had a special moment in the free for all that was my runner-up for best moment. I don't know about you guys, but Mike missing a Star Wars question.
Oh my gosh! I think all of us went, "What?"
Not even giving an answer to the Star Wars question.
Yeah.
Is that what knocked him out?
Super ready to play, Alex.
I think that's what knocked him out. It might have been. Oof.
It was just,
She savage. Jeez.
I mean, are we gonna like dive back into this, or should we actually talk about like really the Jacobs?
No. We're gonna get back into it later. But I want to, before Dan gets here, I know that Jill has some thoughts on the whole Zavlorkin thing.
I do.
I'm gonna let her take it over real quick.
I saw it in the chat, and I even saw Christian post a tweet about it saying, like, why is someone who's not in a faction in the free-for-all? Free-for-all is really where the wrestling side of Schmoedown comes in. So free-for-all is basically the Schmoedown version of WWE's Royal Rumble. In the Royal Rumble, there's, I believe, 40 wrestlers. They come in at a time. So with like every like 3 or 2 minutes, a new wrestler comes in, and there can be upwards of like 27 people inside the ring. And it can be people who are currently in the WWE. It can be people who are retired. It can be people who are from NXT, which is essentially WWE's FCL. And whoever wins it gets a title shot. And it's happened before. So Paige, for example, was in NXT. She won the Royal Rumble and she became the WWE champion. So it happens, you know, it's going to happen where you're going to get people that aren't in a faction who come into the free-for-all, because that's what they do in wrestling too. So for people to be like overly shocked about that surprised me, to be honest. I'm like, why is everyone so stunned that the Flirt and Flouse is here? Like, I'm surprised there wasn't more FCL people in the free-for-all, to be completely honest with you. So it's definitely a big wrestling thing, and I know sometimes people forget that wrestling is a big component to the Schmoedown, and like there's a lot of the storylines that's a wrestling element. It's very similar to the Royal Rumble, where we're going to get people that aren't in a faction that are going to pop in. And who doesn't want to see more of Flirt and Flouse? Why are you all freaking out? I was
going to say, like, are we all really surprised the Flirt and Flouse found his way in there?
Really?
It's interesting because obviously the FCL is just going, and out of all the FCL players, the Flirt and Flouse was probably the best one to be number 41. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, next year they cut down to 4 players per faction and allow 8 FCL players in the
I would not be surprised at all.
It's definitely possible to see, because we know that Christian is a hardcore wrestling person, or he was for a very long time. And I mean, like you said, Jill, it's literally called the free for all. It's not like
you don't know it's not the structured for all. Like, we don't know what's gonna happen.
It's like, the first time that it's been played while we have a developmental league. Mm-hmm. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, we're gonna get more FCL players, possibly even quote unquote, you can call them free agents entering, who maybe it's like a showcase for them. Maybe they pop in, like, or something.
Especially next season, where I'm assuming we're gonna have an FCL champion by the end of this year. Don't at all be shocked when the FCL champion shows up at Free For All. Like, don't be surprised when that happens, because I'll be surprised if it doesn't happen, to be honest. So that's my soapbox.
It's fair. It's very fair. All right. Any final thoughts on Free For All before we move on? I mean, we could talk about a little. Dan's on here yet, so we can talk for a few minutes here about some other things if anybody has anything that they want to bring up.
There's a super chat. Another super chat from Mr. Tim Sim.
There we go. If Flouser and FCL somehow won the event, the upcoming free agency signing period will be a frenzy to try to sign the one with the title shot. That is very true. Yeah. That is very true. Yep. Luckily, it didn't turn out that way, because who knows what could – I mean, it probably could have been an absolute madhouse if that actually did happen. But it is an interesting concept. It's a very interesting concept. Like, say, David Campbell had won the FCL title. Say he has the belt. He comes into the free-for-all. Free agency period, there's like a day left. He probably would have had all 8 factions calling him.
Yeah, and Ryan just put a good point in there. He hasn't played a match in FCL. Yeah, he was announced that he's in it, but
and he has a Schmoedown record. He
exactly
played in the Schmoedown, so
it's not like it was some unknown FCL person that we've never seen before just showing up into Free For All. Like,
they should have like Free For All free agent assassins. They're there just to try to take people out.
I mean,
they do it in the challenge.
I'm not opposed to it. They can't win, but they're there to just try to take people out.
They're the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
They're called the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
They spoil people's ability to win. Like, they can knock someone out who's actually going for the win, which would be very fun and interesting. It puts a spin on it. I don't know if that happens in the Royal Rumble or whatever, but
like every 10th person throw in like one of these,
just a wrinkle,
and just see if they could take someone out in the process.
I mean, either way,
he took poor Alex out. He took Alex with him.
He would have been out anyways.
Oh my gosh!
Would he have been eliminated?
Yeah,
he would have.
Think so.
Okay. That's fair.
I think it was just
to do it though. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm not just saying that to be mean. I'm saying I think.
Are you sure?
Legit would have been out either way.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, whatever. Who cares? It makes things interesting.
Something else I really liked about this digital version was the the design of like the next player loading.
Loading stub loading.
That was cool.
It
was something so simple, but like
we all were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
loading player.
That was a nice touch.
It was good. It was fun, and I mean, who doesn't love like all of a sudden just hearing someone's music and then go, "Wait, who's that?" No, really? And then all of a sudden, someone. So, by the way, I have been maybe more than a dozen times listening to Paul's music.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and I cannot find it anywhere. So if someone wants to post where we can find
David Biscuits, where you at? Drop that link.
So I've just literally been listening to the last rundown intro, just like his little thing. Because
so good.
That's my favorite.
So good.
It's really good. It's really
so good.
All right. Well, our guest is here, so we'll go ahead and bring him on and talk to him for a little while here. He is the GOAT. He's the reigning singles champion after winning his belt here just a few weeks ago. He is Dangerous Dan Murrell.
Hello.
Welcome.
I just realized I cleaned up today, and I had the belt right there, and it's not there anymore.
No.
No worries. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I know it's been a while, and I'm kind of hard to nail down. I apologize, but I'm happy to be here.
Yay,
we're happy to have the singles champ with us. No worries.
Yeah. Any fellow dungeon head with Molly is welcome anytime.
Oh. Look at this. We have a double delivery.
Hey, there's a belt.
There they are.
Thank you, honey. There we go.
Just a thing we've got here.
We just
just gonna come in with mine. I love it.
Special delivery.
Gosh. Love it.
I will say from my end, it works out great because I have both you and Mara on my fantasy team. So thank you.
Oh, I'm glad that we're doing good for your fantasy team. Thank you for your faith in both of us.
It allows me to. I'm currently beating Frank Janish, so it works.
Frankie Numbers. I'm sure he's not happy about that.
No, he's not. He's
not. But he's very pleased with how this free for all ended because he had both Ben and Paul.
He did.
So, then that's good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. But
Brian, I'll shoot it to you first, man. You got a question?
Sure. I mean, kind of ballpark, but when you think about like the first time you ever did Schmoedown to where you're at now,
yeah.
Did you ever even imagine it would be this wild, this different? Like,
no.
Other than just going in, I'm just gonna have a fun little trivia match.
I mean, no. The first time I did it, I was on the team with Mark Riley. Team champs, and like the place where they did, I mean, this is like a closet. I mean, there's like a kitchenette right outside the door. It was such a small little studio, and I mean, nothing against them, like that company, because they were with I think at that time it was After Buzz, and then it's become Popcorn. But I mean, like what they've built out of that is amazing. But it was such a small thing. And, like the questions were all like whatever Josh McCouga's favorite movies were. And, it was just so tiny.
Lots of Bad Boys 2 questions.
Yes, lots of Bad Boys 2 and like just obscure 80s action movies.
No scary movies whatsoever.
No horror movies. And then, when I came and started doing my singles career, even still like with Campia, was the first person that I played, and like most everybody that played in the Schmoedown worked there, and so the Schmoedown was just something that people would take a break from whatever else they were really doing to like do the Schmoedown thing, and then it grew and grew and grew, and that's part of like what kind of caught me on my heels when I came back, because I didn't think that I'd been gone that long, and yet when I came out, that live event where I came out and I was just blown away by, because I hadn't really Christian it was like cloak and dagger stuff with the reveal, with the 5 horsemen reveal. He was like, you do not, you come in, you gotta have a hood on, like don't go near the stage, don't go anywhere near the stage, no one can see you, like when you're done, run out the side door, nothing. It's like, and I get it, like he wanted to make sure that moment was intact. So like I'd seen the venue, but I had no idea that many people were going to be there. I could not believe how much had grown just since I'd gone away. And then now when you look at it and just the size of it and the fact that it's kept going through all of this, when live events are such a part of the lifeblood of it now, it's insane. when we talk about like what Christian's built with this, and I mean, obviously, so many other people, Mark and everyone else that have been a part of it. It's crazy to think about how big it is at this point.
It's insane. We have two divisions. We have 2 leagues now. We have Schmoedown. Now we have a developmental league. Like, that's how big it is.
Crazy.
They had to make another league for it. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I gotta say
Yeah.
too, because I remember watching the AfterBuzz studio days, and during the Schmoedown 2-hour show on a Thursday evening from 7 to 8, that's when the trivia would take place. And it's just, as a fan, it's pretty insane to see how much it's grown. It's become this. I mean, we saw the video on Twitter today. It's the professional movie trivia league. It's the elite of the elite in just a matter of years. So it's kudos to everybody involved, because it is absolutely wild how quick this has grown from a closet game to now a full-on stadium style of event.
I didn't think it would get any better than when I saw the studio when they made the move to Collider. Like, I walked in, I was like, they have hit the pinnacle. Like, this is amazing. There's 2 different sets, and there's 4 cameras. Like, oh man, we're never gonna top this. And little did I know, like, what else was to come.
Yeah. Jill, why don't you take the next one?
Yeah, so I want to know, what are your thoughts on being called the greatest of all time in the Schmoedown? Don't be humble about it if you don't want to be. Like, I want you, like, what are your legit, honest thoughts about being called the GOAT of the Schmoedown?
It's very flattering, and I do take a lot of pride in it. The one thing that I've always said is, like, I don't think I understand that it is a fan title. Mm-hmm. I do not think, despite what some players in the league enjoy doing, I do not think you can proclaim yourself the GOAT. It is a title that is bestowed upon you, and quite frankly, it's a title that can be taken away, which I think keeps the pressure on. So I don't, like, kick back in a lounge chair and go, oh, I love being the GOAT. I have to understand that, I'm very flattered that a lot of people call me the GOAT, but I mean, I watched shows, and I read comment sections. Like, when Collins beat me, I saw people already were kind of like, well, maybe he's not. So it's not like it's this permanent thing that's going to stay there forever. You got to work hard. You got to keep at it. So no, it's flattering. Obviously, I work hard at trying to keep my game up at a consistent level, because I love it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to deny that. I love it. It's great. And but yeah, my thing has always been that is something that the fans determine, and it is and that could be a good thing, or that could be a bad thing. And for a long time, Sam Levine was the GOAT, and then and it's sort of transferred over to me now. But that's not to say there's not somebody that can come down the road and take that title from me as well. So it's not permanent. You got to work at it.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you keep proving as to why people call you the GOAT. Mm-hmm. Someone might take the belt from you, but it's like they'll have it for a bit, and I'm going to take that right back. Yeah. So
and by the way, anyone that still says Sam Levine is the GOAT, and that's the other thing that I always say, they're not wrong. Like, there's not a definitive, like, Frankie's never gonna crunch the numbers and be like, I figured it out. It's the GOAT. So
this is the one.
This is the one. Like, there's people that say it's me. There's people that say it's Rachel. There's people that say it's Sam. Mm-hmm. Some people say it's Kalinowski. Some people say it's Roka. There's no right or wrong to it. So it's nice to have, knowing that there's that many people that think it's me. I think is really cool.
I do have a Streamlab that came through that's very similar in the conversation that we have. This is from Billy, master of puns, and he says, "Hey, View Crew, for Dan, first, hi. Second, you've proven you're the GOAT. You can't deny it countless times over the years. Do you think the pressure to maintain dominance gets trickier every year? And if so, how do you deal with it?"
It does, because you have to evolve with the game, and that's people saw me struggle with that in real time when I came back. I mean, I TKO'd the guy, played a pretty good match, TKO'd Ethan. So two losses out of 3, 2 TKOs out of 3. I was struggling. And so, yeah, you do have to evolve with the game. And I think to stay at a consistently high level, you got to prepare. You have to bring in strategy, studying. There's so many things that have been added as you go. A lot of the pressure it's just pressure that I put on myself. I'm a very competitive person. I like to win. And I especially hate losing if it's like a mistake that it's like if the Collins match had gone the other way. I would know that it was likely the mistake that I made in the speed round, missing that question, like, just like not being able to remember Chloe Grace Moretz the first time I played him. Like I put all that pressure on myself. So it's really self-applied pressure to keep my standards up high, and I can't control what anybody else does. So yeah, it really is just kind of keeping myself motivated to play the best that I can play, whatever that entails.
Well, it's worked 5 times in a championship match. So.
I mean,
so far so good.
Yeah.
Molly, you got something for your faction mates?
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of, my question's very simple. What is it like to be on the best faction in the Schmoedown?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, beyond just like the fact that we've had a great year so far, and I think we're going to continue to have a great year. It's just we came together at the beginning of this season with this idea of like, we're not just fighting to win, we're in this for each other. And Kaiser, when we were going through the draft, and there was people like Witt available, and like he was just saying like, guys, trust me, you want Witt on this team, you want and Adam Witt is such an asset to this team, on and off, both playing the game and helping everybody else prep. And it really is this feeling of there was an idea. There was. Mark, he would know. But there really is this idea, like the support that we all have, and it's led by Kaiser. Kaiser down through the ranks. We're all playing for Kevin. We all want him to be like, he is with each and every one of us that when we're playing, and we can't wait till he's actually on the stage with us. And I don't think there's one member of the dungeon that wouldn't give up their spot on the team if Kevin was ready to play tomorrow. Yeah. I don't think there's one person that wouldn't bow out and say like, take it, Smash. So I think that we all just kind of came into this idea of who, with all the with all the twists and turns this game makes, who knows how we can get a team like this together again. And you know what? Let's just make a go of it. Let's just try to do the damn thing. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, like, we have Zoom calls that we all get on. If somebody wins or somebody loses, it doesn't matter. And there's not one person in the faction that's played, win or lose, that I think that we all haven't gotten on afterwards and said, hell of a game. When Witt played, we don't really like, everyone on the faction was so effing proud of Adam Witt after that Star Wars match, because we were like, dude, you kicked ass. We don't care if you won or not. Like, dude, that was awesome. And I mean, it's just the kind of faction that we are. So it's a lot of fun. It's way more even of a Schmoedown family feel than I'd even anticipated.
Yeah. And I do want to kind of piggyback off of that. I will say Kaiser is rubbing off on both you and Molly and so many people in the dungeon, because we're getting so much sass. We're getting some sassiness from you, from Molly. I love it so much, because it's the side of so many players in the dungeon that we haven't seen before. Like, we haven't seen you like, you're prank calling your former manager, and I love it. And like, I want more of it. And Molly's out here like totally just bashing on her husband and saying like he's straight trash. And it's like, what is happening? Like,
he lost the belt. He's dead to me.
Kaiser is such this like positive force of chaos. Like, it's absolute chaos and anarchy, but in a good way. In a positive way. And so, he can be the enforcer when he needs to be, but that he's going to be there at the end of the day with the metaphorical beer and a cigarette, whether you win the match or don't win the match.
Yep.
Well, for him, the literal beer and a cigarette, and for us, the metaphorical.
So a lot of people were asking in the chat. I want to make sure I get to these because there were a couple of them. I know that last year you had talked about possibly entering the IG division, and I know it comes up quite a bit. I know it's that question that's always going to be asked. But now that Mara has the title and she's studying and she's playing, is that something on the horizon that you could see happening in the near future, or is it kind of sitting there in limbo at the moment?
Well, yeah, both. I've said, and this was something that I told Kaiser this. I told everybody this before I even signed anything with the dungeon this year. I said, okay, I'd intended to do it last season, and then when Mara, couldn't play, and you know, we kind of figured out this event in New York. I was like, great, I'll go play in New York. If I win, great. If not, I'll go into IG. Then we went to Atlanta. I'm like, great, I'll go play in Atlanta. If I win, great. If not, I'll go into IG. And then I said that about every belt match last year. And it went all the way to the end of the season. And so then at the beginning of this year, you know, I'm in the dungeon. So I was like, well, I'm not going to give up because Christian, you know, we talked back and forth. He's like, okay, you're going to get a number one contenders match because you defended twice. I'm like, well, I'm not just going to give that up. I'm like, all right,
no,
I'll play Snyder. If I win, great. If not, I'll go into Intergeekdom. And then I won. I'm like, all right, I'll play Call. And it's now we're doing the same thing again. So the thing that I've always been saying is I always want to keep myself available for the singles tournament later this season for the dungeon, whether I have the belt or whether I don't have the belt. So I'm not going to preclude that. But my intention has always been that when this run that I'm currently on ends, that would be a chance for me to sort of pause and pivot even more to IG, because I don't want to be, obviously I want to be a great teammate to Ben. So I don't want to be spread out too thin. But it's just kind of, I just kind of keep pushing it down the road. So I remain very interested in it. If circumstances line up in just a certain way, then I'll make that turn this season. But I also want to make sure that I'm playing as best I can in each division. And I don't know if being a 3-division player with everything else that I'm doing is feasible. So I have to kind of pick and choose. And so right now, obviously my concentration is on singles and teams, but the earliest available opportunity, I am still very interested in the IG division.
Ooh, awesome. I know since Alex got into it, like compared to studying for Star Wars, IG is just a delight to have to study for.
I mean, that's what I love is the idea of prepping for a match where I just have like a list of things that I can like cross off, like the singles. It's an infinite list. You can watch 500 movies and it's like, great, there's 50,000 more. Whereas with IG, it's like I could sit and study. I have a list. I'm a very modular person. I'm like, I want a list. I want, defined a box around everything. So it's a new way of studying that I'm looking forward to engaging with. And obviously I have a little experience helping Mara be the amazing player that she is. She doesn't need that much help from me, but it's something I'm looking forward to. It's a new kind of challenge.
I like it. We did get a super chat that came through real quick. I want to get to this from Gio Ramos. Which filmmaker would Dan want to face in MTS just for fun? Also, I need to see Dan Murrell versus Kofi Outlaw in MTS before you retire.
Oh, first of all, I love Kofi. We were for a millisecond, we were coworkers at Screen Junkies, and he's great. I love Kofi. I mean, obviously Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
right. That's fair. But it doesn't seem like if we face each other that it would be just for fun. So, Edgar Wright. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. He'd whip my ass, but it'd be fun.
You think he would inside the actual trivia part of all this, like how it works?
It depends. It depends on it. It always depends on the roll of the wheel. But like that dude's like an encyclopedia. Do you like? Have you ever seen on Twitter? He'll be like, here's what I watched this week, and it's a stack of movies like this high. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I would love to see him in the Schmoedown. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Christian, make it happen.
He'd be a great
it's
personality.
that easy.
He'd be a great personality out of this game.
Yeah, he would be.
Brian, got anything else?
Yeah, so I would like to know, and if you need time to think about it, that's fine. We can move on to the next one. I would love to know a movie that you love that people would be like, really? Dan likes that movie? Okay, that's fine. It doesn't have to be like a strength or anything. Just a movie that's just like, I freaking love that.
I have
movie.
a soft spot for Gerard Butler.
Yes.
So I like London Has Fallen and Den of Thieves. Like there's a lot of Gerard Butler movies that I like because I don't know what it is. I like Gerard Butler. So I think there's a lot of Gerard Butler films that people are like, oh, I'm sure Dan hates that. I'm like, no, actually, I love that movie. Yeah.
Fair.
Jerry B.
I did not expect you to throw that answer that fast. I thought I was going to throw you for a loop.
I like some Gerard Butler. I mean, there's some good stuff and there's some really bad stuff he does, but that's okay. Chill.
Has there been a moment in your career where you're asked where you think of a trivia question, you go, oh, that'll never be asked, and then in your match it was, and you're like, whoa, I didn't think that would actually be asked, and I actually knew it.
Yeah, Suburban Commando. When I got asked that Suburban Commando question with Wrestlers in Film, I was like, They will, and I guess Chance had been asked about it last season. I don't have a chance to watch every single matchup, so I guess Chance had been asked about Suburban Commando, but I didn't know that. But I'd always quoted the movie Suburban Commando as like, man, why don't they ever ask about these like obscure '90s movies that I remember from when I was a kid, like Suburban Commando? And then sure enough, it came up. So that's happened a few times. And then a couple times there's been a weird thing where it's just like I watch a movie randomly, and then for whatever reason it just happens to come up in the next match. Like that happened to me with Dark Crystal.
Wow.
So I just watched Dark Crystal, and then I got a Gelflings question, and I think I was playing Clark, and they asked about it, and I was like, Gelflings. Everyone was just like, ooh. And I was like, yeah, I've always known that. Steel trap.
We did get a Streamlabs from Mr. Dragon 17. He says, Dan, how do you balance being on a team with Ben, but at the same time watching your back since you know he's very hungry for that belt? Also, don't leave Damon out of the GOAT conversation. Most dominant champ ever, and 4-1 in IG.
Yeah, I mean, Damon's making some statements. I think both Damons are going to be making statements this season.
I have to agree.
I mean, and it's like I said, like I said with the dungeon, like after Molly's first match, we thought that was a statement. Molly kicked ass in that match. Sometimes you hit somebody who's like perfect, and there's nothing you can't do anything about that.
Yeah,
so it's. I mean, Ben and I obviously we both are ambitious players, and we know that. I think we both are very understanding of the fact that our team is not going to work if we're withholding information from each other. It's just not going to work. If we're playing games with each other and being like, well, I'm really not good at this, but I'm going to tell him I am, or vice versa, then the team isn't going to work. So it's just, Ben's on a path right now to the belt potentially. And if he gets there, then we'll deal with that. And I'm sure he's probably got some things tucked in his back pocket, and I've got a couple things tucked in my back pocket. But there's not this thing where we're like circling each other, being like, "Well, what can I tell him and what can I not tell him?" Like I have to be open about my weaknesses and strengths, and I'm very confident that he is as well. And us succeeding as a team is just as good as us succeeding as individuals. And if we play each other for the belt, the dungeon gets the same points either way. So it's like, let's go the path that helps us succeed together.
Yeah. I'm so excited to see you two debut in this team's tournament. I'm Danger Zone, number one. Awesome name. I'm just so excited to see you guys because I'm pretty positive that everyone has you guys at the top of their brackets for this team tournament, and it's intimidating to have both you and Ben on a team together. These two current and former singles champion, and it's scary, and I'm really excited to see what you guys can do as a team.
Yeah, it may be intimidating, but it's also like, and I got a little bit of this with John too when we played together before he, dropped me to go do whatever he's doing. There's also an expectation. There was a whole thread. Frankie Numbers started this whole thread about how much of a disappointment we were as a team because we didn't dominate, and it's like that. There's also that expectation there that because Ben and I are teamed up, it's like, well, they're a failure if they don't win the tournament, and it's like, well, that's a lot of pressure for us because even success isn't enough. You have to succeed plus. Mm-hmm. And so we have to manage that when you're going into a tournament, especially an 8-team tournament. It's like there's no margin for error, and
especially with teams that we don't know what they're going to do because we've only seen one other team compete with each other. It's all brand new teams. Yeah,
so it's that plus all the pressure of knowing that this expectation is on us that if we don't, I think people think that if we don't win a belt, then we're a failure as a team. Automatic off the bat, not by the end of the season, like right now today. With no time to work on the team dynamic, with no time to, that's why we're putting in all the time that we can off the field, if you will, to get that right, because we know that there's no margin for error, none whatsoever.
That's for sure. Because now that I think about it, yikes, that's a lot of pressure. You have to, because you guys are put on this pedestal to say, which you rightly deserve to be, and you really have to prove it. And I'm so stoked. I'm so excited to see how you guys work as a team. I'm excited to see Kaiser in there working with you two. I'm ready for it. Bring it.
I think it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that much. It's going to be interesting. I'm a little curious myself.
They're on the same side as your team Deception, Jill, so watch out.
I know they are.
And I do want to piggyback off that real quick, because I think it was obviously short-lived, but the Founding Fathers, I think a big part of the reason why you maybe weren't, as Frankie puts it, the most successful thing ever was the manager side of this, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have seen so far that Kaiser seems much more involved. He is able to talk to his players the way that they need him to talk to them. And whatever happens between you and Ben on screen in the match, it always seems like Kaiser is going to be there to kind of be that glue, for lack of a better term. He's going to be the glue for not just you guys, but the dungeon. And it's been proven so far this year with the lead you guys have. I have no doubt that if something does happen, if whatever, Kaiser is going to be there to bring it all back together.
Kaiser's a coach.
Yeah.
That's what he is. Gucci, it's like being managed by the mascot of the team. You know? He's very amusing, but it's a little tough in the game. Sometimes you're like, hey, take the head off and maybe, you know, give me a couple pointers here. So yeah, Kaiser is a coach. He's coaching you up. He's got the Newt Rockney thing going on, and you know, that's my fear, and I saw it a little bit, like when they were the week that I won against Collins, when they were voting for manager of the week. A lot of people were like, well, why should I vote for Kaiser? Well, all he did was play Dan Murrell. Like, I'm sorry, no, there's so much more to it. Like, no player exists in a vacuum, and Kaiser puts in so much friggin' time with each and every one of us, time that he doesn't have, and there's no like, I can't right now. He adjusts his schedule around all of us, and it's crazy what he puts into this. So he is I mean, I knew that he was a great manager because I did my homework before I signed, but even more so to a degree that I never expected. He's phenomenal.
We do have 2 Streamlabs that have come through. Guys, all you watching, we have Dan for about another 10, 15 minutes, so get those questions in. These 2 are both from Daniel. First one is much more of a comment. He says, what's up, View Crew? What's up, GOAT? I enjoyed your Oscar reaction video yesterday. You have become one of my favorite movie reviewers / pundits. Whenever a new movie or TV show comes out, your review is always the first one I click on. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And he follows that up with, if you guys wanted to create a new category on the wheel, what would it be? For me, it would be animal-centric movies.
Ooh.
Animal films. I like that. That's cool.
That's a tough question.
That is a tough question.
There's so many categories already.
I thought my question was going to be tough, but this is
I think like British comedy.
Oh,
would be fun. You know, I just love I love that the sensibility and the very dry sense of humor so much that I think that'd be a fun slice to put on there.
I would probably go towards like what favorite actor or director, and I don't know who's already a slice, but it's the easiest thing for me to choose because I obviously like the genre's already picked, so I'd probably pick like his filmography is not huge, but like a Denis Villeneuve or something like that. I love his movies, and there's so much information in there that you can pick them all apart.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be popular slice. I'll tell you that much, because any director with a limited filmography or a small filmography, people are just like, yes, because it's easy to watch, easy to study. But his movies are very dense. Yeah.
I had a similar question actually that could piggyback off that. If you could choose anything to do an exhibition match, what? I mean, like not counting for anything, just for fun.
Yeah.
What would you have it themed?
Wow, I had to turn down a Star Trek one once, and I was so upset. But the timing just wasn't right. I just didn't have. I didn't have time to get. It was kind of short notice, and I just didn't have time to prep like I wanted to.
Movies under 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's what I would want. Yeah. I would want a movie flop category, like a movie that just.
People are saying this in the chat. They're saying right here, I would love for Razzies
Yeah, Razzie category.
Oh no, please.
No,
I think that's called the Inner Geekdom division. Good grief, there's some stinkers in that.
You just have to watch. You just have to watch
division.
Catwoman. You just have to watch Catwoman 19 times. You know, just
Catwoman, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Steel. Oh, there's some bad. I know that Kevin Smets loves Steel, so I don't want him to get angry at me, but I'm not a fan. Oh wow, that's a really good question. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think I might want to do, because I know it's a slice on the wheel now with the readjustment of the categories. I'm a Bat fan. Batman is like my dude, superhero wise. So I think I'd love to do a Batman exhibition match because I love all the Batman movies. And
so then you must have loved the fact that Mara won her belt off of a Batman.
I lost my mind with that one. I lost my mind. Now for a Batman exhibition match, would you also want like the animated series thrown in there, or like just the films?
I mean, I think, you know, by Schmoedown rules, I think it would just have to be the theatrically released films. But you know, I'm sure they would never do it because poor PJ and the writers, I wouldn't want them to have to blow like 70 Batman questions in one go. But I would definitely do a Batman exhibition match. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
That would be fun.
Yes.
I think I would be down with doing a John Hughes exhibition match. Because I think, is that a slice on the wheel?
It is, but
yeah,
that'd be. But again, there's so many cast members, and he wrote and directed so many different movies. Yeah,
that and apparently Superman. I have become really good
at Superman.
I don't know why. Like when we were watching all those Superman movies, I mean, Superman 4 is interesting, but it's like all that trivia just like sticks in my head, and I'm like, yeah, Mark Pillow. He was great.
Mark who?
Nuclear Man.
Oh, okay.
His only weakness is shade.
We did get another Streamlabs here from Daniel. He says, "Hey Dan, I also enjoyed your Godfather video. I never knew about the information about John Cazale. Really interesting stuff. Can't wait to do Godfather Part 2 video. I wanted to get your opinion if there'll be a resurgence for gangster films."
Ooh.
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times Hollywood romanticizes history from like filmmakers romanticize the history from like when they were young. So they get like Coppola's of the 70s, and he's doing movies that are set in like the 40s and 50s. I don't know if we're going to keep going back that far. I think we're going to see a lot more movies about the 80s and 90s as history, which is really going to start freaking me out.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. And also the gangster genre, it's like it's been invented, reinvented, flipped on its head, turned sideways so many different times. I think if we do get there'll always be crime movies, but I think they're going to be more not in like the classical sense of a gangster movie. It'll be more, you know, contemporary, you know, not so much Godfather era.
There you go.
Makes sense.
Brian, you got anything else?
Yes. So, is there anyone that you have never gotten the chance to play, past or present, that you were just like, darn, I would love to play them?
Yeah. Drew Mcguinney. Never played him.
Oh, wow. Really?
I have never. Well, I guess I played lawn in teams, so I can't say I've never played lawn because I have played lawn, but I've never played Drew Mcguinney in any capacity.
Wow.
Obviously, would always love that Rachel Cushing match. I think that would be fun. She is a mighty talent, and we just sort of missed each other through just me being gone, and then she pivoted away from singles like right as I was coming back. So, and then I wasn't in teams at the same time she and Clark were in teams. It was just like it never worked out. So I never played Rachel. Yeah, it's weird these players that I've gone years and years without playing. I think Drew McWeeny is probably the most prominent one because he's such a big name and people, you know, consider him to be, I think, on my level as far as like especially contemporaneous with me and then going after with that run that he and Sam had in teams. That'd be number one on my list. And then again, Kevin Smith. I would love to play. I'd play him in the alley right now if he wanted.
Hey, I mean, he's got an undefeated record right now. You know, maybe one more. And
I mean, yeah, it could happen.
Possible.
I'm still waiting for Doug Benson to play. He's on my fantasy team. I I really hope it happens this season because I love his movie podcast. I've seen it live twice, and I really hope he gets to play.
He's a funny dude. He's a funny dude. He knows a lot about movies too.
Mm-hmm.
Jill, you got anything to wrap this up before we let Dan go?
I'll do a fun one since he's in the chat and I like to hype him up. And we've said multiple times on this show that you have officially made it when Brian Ward makes a poster of you or a Photoshop of you, and you clearly have many of those. What is your favorite Dan Murrell Brian Ward?
Oh, that's so tough.
Oh man, that's hard because it's also tough. Like I don't know exactly when he took over, so I don't want to like pick one and then it's like, oh, he didn't do that one. You know, I am a little jealous. I see all the ones that the Star Wars players get, and I'm like, oh man, like the one that he did for Wit with like the Han Solo one.
Right,
like, that is awesome. That is so cool.
I'm not gonna say that Watto one wasn't horrible.
That would be my luck. Is I would get Watto. Like Adam Witt gets Han Solo, Molly's like a dark Jedi, and I'm Watto. That would be my luck.
You're Watto in a flannel, though.
That's fair.
A little bit cooler.
The stuff that's all done for like the live events is all so cool. Like it's hard for me to like pick one out in my head or like distinguish it from the other ones, but all the stuff that's like put together for the live events or like those big like one shot like posters where it's just like a big fight. Like I like to. He makes me look cool, which is I have a never ending appreciation for anyone that can make me look cool.
You did see the Watto one he did of you, right?
Yes, I may have blocked it out mentally, but I did.
It had the hat and everything.
It did. No, it was masterful work as always.
So I don't know if we have asked you this before because you were on the show previously when we had Mara on, but we always ask our guests when they come on for the first time because movies bring us together. And so do you have and what is it? Not just do you, but what is it? A favorite movie snack and a favorite candy?
Yeah, well, I mean, movie snack. If we're out, I'm boring, but it's always popcorn. If it's not popcorn, if we're there early enough, I do not eat them during the movie. But if we're there early enough, I like a good movie nacho. But only if I've got time to sit there because I don't want to be fumbling with the cheese and the peppers and the thing and crunch it like during the movie. It's only if we get there early enough for me to like finish them like maybe during the trailers.
Yeah.
So that's a movie candy. Most of the time, I'm like a Raisinets guy. Very rare, very occasionally, I'll be in the mood for like a Junior Mint or a Sour Patch Kid. Big fan of those. And then every once in a while, I'll feel the pull from Milk Duds.
Nice. Yes.
Milk Duds for the win for sure. Yeah. Brian Ward says it's the one as you as Indy chasing Christian as Indy.
That was the bowl. I'm trying to remember that one.
That was a while ago.
I need to look that one up.
A while ago. I gotta look those up.
That was.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for coming on for a little while, hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, and it was really fun to get to talk to you finally. So thank you.
No, my pleasure. I promise it won't be as long next time before you're able to get me on. I'm trying to be better about staying in communication with people. So
no worries, and good luck in the tournament.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's going to be a tough road, and we're not taking anything for granted. So we just got to be ready to come out and play our best, and we'll disappoint Frank and no matter what happens, and then we'll see what happens.
Is there anyone?
That's the one. Is there anyone that doesn't just to go after Frank? That's all they want.
Yeah,
I love Frank. Frank is my producer, so I feel okay with razzing him a little bit. There you go. We're just as open for criticism as anybody else. That's part of the game.
Well, thanks again, Dan. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great talking to you.
Oh, that was good.
Yay.
That was good.
That was fun.
Thank you to everyone who threw out questions as well.
Thank you
guys so much. Those are some really good questions in there. Absolute blast.
I was gonna say about Milk Duds. I remember because I loved Milk Duds growing up, and I remember when I got my braces, and the first time I tried to eat Milk Duds after having braces on, I was like, "Oh my god, this is a nightmare."
Milk Duds are the braces destroyer.
Mistakes were made.
But they are
like,
so good.
I ate like a couple, and I was like, I don't think I can eat these with my braces. Oh no.
All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. Each week we get into some FCL stuff. We talk about the matches, we preview some stuff, but This week, we actually have a special guest joining us. And if you have been watching FCL, specifically last week, excuse me, this gentleman has been making quite the noise in the FCL. And he's been pissing off the chairman a little bit as well. Let's go and bring him on. It is Mr. Andrew Furtado.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction. Talking about my forthcomings, whatever. That's fine.
Oh.
You know, we'll nowhere but up from now on. So, anyone other than Jake want to talk? I'd rather that personally.
Oh boy.
Oh man, you know, any show I go on, it seems there's always one, and I'm glad there's a Jake today. You know, that's all.
Well, I'll ask you the first question. How are you feeling just after everything that went down?
Yeah.
Well, you know, thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry, hold on. Siskel, get out.
Oh,
puppy!
Sorry, Siskel. Hold on.
We love a good furry friend.
Yeah.
Jake, where's yours? Yours is probably lurking in the background.
He went inside. He was back here, but he went inside.
Siskel has a bit of a tendency to open doors. So
Oh,
that was a great thing to learn one day. But I've been great. As you can see, I'm very busy at my house. You know, I've been reflecting a lot and realizing that I've reviewed my matches, pardon me. I'm in the right, and I stand by my thoughts about PLD and the situation. Yeah, no, Jake, see, you're coming at me again with the eyebrow. I saw it pop up. I'm in the right, and I stand by that. I've started, decided today, take this whole time, relax. I'm not even getting dressed anymore. I'd normally be wearing a blazer. I don't have a robe yet, so I'm borrowing my wife's. But
whatever works.
You know, it's exactly. I've this is just since I've been quarantined in solidarity. I've been just go. Wow. I should go this way. Well, that doesn't help. That way, I'm not giving anything away. But I've been busy trying to get through as much as I can, study up, so PLD has nothing on me. Him and I went on a little bit of a tangent over the weekend. He was at a wedding, good for him, but he still found time to razz me about Ed Harris, and I don't fully feel like it's the FCL is a little bit of a mess right now. That's my opinion. I mean, you know, clear biases are being taken, and I just personally not here for it. Not here for it at all.
Who are the biases for?
Who
are we being biased for or against?
I don't understand. A lot of the fans have taken to me as kind of a villain, of a bad guy, and I disagree with that. And I feel like that's 100% in the editing of the editor. Brad has been, and see, Chris Adams, geez, it's like a Google alert. Anytime I'm anywhere, this guy just comes out of nowhere. Oh, is there a block? Can you block somebody on YouTube?
Oh no,
maybe. We'll look into that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't have any of our moderators here today, so we'll have to do that later on.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Nothing says movies like we'll do it in post. Thanks again, Jake. Really killing it today. The biases are definitely towards people who are confident and aware. And as I stated before, my letterbox is public. It's not knowledge, not hard to find what I watch, what I don't, finding my strengths and weaknesses. And I've since realized that, PLD had plenty of time. I came as soon as my match was announced. I started going out, making my presence known, trying to make a name, because as Robert Adams so eloquently put, I'm not known in this world at all. And I had the opportunity to sneak attack. Instead, I put a bit of a target on my head, gave PLD, well, this guy's a jerk, screw him. Let's make sure. Thank you, Jillian. I appreciate it. I felt the need to kind of make the statement. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the statement the FCL wanted out there. A man confident of who he is, what he watches, how he performs. And it unfortunately painted the picture that I feel like they want someone like a Campbell to be their first person. I mean, you see the dynasty, you see all the love he gets, all the people appreciating him, treating him like a king just because he's from Scotland. That's
Fair.
bull.
It's the accents. They
It is
get all
the
the special
accent.
treatments.
I'm from the East Coast. I got no good accent. It all just sounds gross. And unfortunately, I see them wanting to be have a poster boy to make this, since this is the first FCL, to be somebody who is a real chosen one, not someone like me. And I instead of sitting there and just letting them take it, I decided, you know what? I'm coming at them. I'm not letting it, go by the wayside. I'm not letting PLD get to PL me.
Who do you think is the bigger problem, PLD or Brad?
Well, I mean, PLD definitely didn't feel the need to apologize personally.
Fair.
And, Brad, I mean, he's just doing what he has to do.
Fair.
He's got two things he has to do. He has to put gel in his hair, and he has to lay down the law. And unfortunately, I picked out I'm still not going to apologize, and I don't feel the need to, but I understand where Brad is coming from. I'm not happy about it.
Fair.
Thank you. I appreciate. That's all I need to hear. Fair, Brian. You're a man of elegance and class. Jake, you could learn something from him.
So whenever you do get to come back and play again, what do you think of some people labeling you as the bad boy of the FCL with everything that's gone down?
You know who else is a bad boy? Ricky Bobby. And you know what he did? Won races.
Shake and
bake.
bake.
Myself.
Wow.
Shake and bake. Jillian, you and I, we get it. We both wear dark jeans. We know what's going on.
He also thought he was on fire and started running around the raceway. So,
okay, here we go again, Jake. I'm just gonna just as everyone seems to like doing with me, pointing out my flaws. I make a reference. I understand. You think I don't know that?
I'm just saying he might not have been the best reference.
But he won.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the journey. What is the final result is what people will remember. And I'm coming back. Once this dumb little suspension is over, I'm back. I'm going to find somebody to go after, and I'm going to make my presence known. And I'm not going to be last because, baby, Jake, listen, open your ears, your eyes, your nostrils, your mouth, get it all out there. I am going to be first. Just like Mountain Dew is the first drink of the NASCAR and most Taco Bells. I will be that first.
You aren't going to find any arguments about Taco Bell here. That's for sure.
Nope. Taco Bell.
So, okay, I have a question. And so when the suspension is up, and if you don't end up getting more after this, who knows what's going to happen.
Well, I'm not on FCL right now. I'm on a great YouTube channel who had the balls and the lady balls to come out with me and let me speak my piece.
I got you.
So you guys are in. We're good. Back to your question, Jake.
So is there someone that you would love to return against? Maybe someone who has played, maybe someone that hasn't played that we know that is in the league. Is there anybody that comes to mind?
Well, there's a ding dong on Facebook, really just coming after me right now, and he called me out on his match, the little the Collector, which, by the way, horror franchise. If you've seen it, terrible, just like his playing style, and he wants me. I don't want anything with that. I'm out with that nonsense. I'd rather fight somebody. I want to see if I'm taking this time, like I said, reviewing everything going on, trying to get an understanding of who everybody is, and I don't want to find somebody weak. I want to find somebody. I don't want to just have a jobber match. I don't want to have a quick little thing. I want my statement to be strong. So I need to really figure this out and pick who I go up against real dainty like.
That's a good strategy. I like that.
I say you seek revenge, take out Chris Adams, and then just go back.
You see a boy wanted harder? My God, you'd think he's at a singles night. He's just coming after me every second he wants. We used to go to high school dances, and there was a guy, we called him Andy the Shark. Not me, different Andrew. I don't go by Andy. I am Andrew always. But we called him Andy the Shark because that dude snuck people around. He found his prey, and he let loose.
Oh.
And right now, baby boy, Chrissy the Shark, get out of my business. I'm out of the water.
Chrissy the Shark. Oh boy.
God. The whole Adams crew can just buzz off. I'm sick of it.
We'll hear about that on Twitter later.
I constantly hear crunching of chips in my ear the whole time. They're talking bag of chips.
Bag of chips.
Oh, here we go. He's stepping in. When I win my first match, Andrew will have to put in work to get to me.
Oh God! You know what? Win your first match. Shut me up. I don't care. God, I hope you win. I hope you win. I do. Because like I'm saying, Robert Adams' win over me isn't a win. It's on paper a win, but that was a biased match. Let's review. Actually, you know what? Let's not review, Jake, unless you want to review. Because then, if you do, I definitely.
Floor is yours. We don't have to review. No.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jake. You're getting better. I like it. You're really warming up to me here.
We got Mike Phillips in the chat, and there might be other people in the chat that don't know why you were suspended.
Okay. I don't know if anyone's noticed in this time here. I have a bit of a mouth. And unfortunately, after my debut match, I lost. I understand that it's a stain on my record at the FCL, and I understand that. I had the unfortunate take of going against a fella who, no offense to him, looks like a Kevin Smith fan. And they softballed this boy Kevin Smith question after Kevin Smith question after, sure, that was his real, but then he got another one. And it was just unfair. It was like just Jillian.
What does a Kevin Smith fan look like? I'm sorry.
Well, most of the time they you know what? It's too easy. I can't do this.
That's low-hanging fruit.
Jillian, I can't go after you. You've been nothing but kind to me. And when I first got announced, you were one of the first people to really come on my side. So thank you very much for that. Jake, I don't, you know what? It's just pistol whipping a blind kid. I can't do it. So the thing about me, I didn't mean to offend you, Jillian. I apologize. But as you can see, I have a bit of a mouth, and my match went very unfairly, and I refuse to let that not be known and let it go by the wayside, because I definitely, as you guys saw, the wheel spun. I got the most generic round. I got horror, a genre. It could be any year, any director, any actor, any situation. There's tons of different subgenres. And god dang, I got a perfect round. No 50-50s, no one-pointers. I got it. I aced it. And sure, I got the question about Toy Story's year wrong, but that movie is timeless. You gotta understand. Mm-hmm. It could come out every year, and I should be right. It's come out multiple times.
Yeah.
So that question I got wrong. That's fine. I think I held my own. And once it got, the wheel could be spun in a favor, and then my 1 point, my 2-pointer, my 3-pointer, and my 5-pointer, it's unfortunate. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. I also, I don't like to make excuses, but I just got my COVID shot that day, and I was still feeling a little woozy. Oh. The second thing, and the show must go on. So, obviously I've got to stay through. And we think back, and Jeremy Garner, that's a COVID answer. It's a COVID answer. That's your brain shutting down. That's COVID talk.
You get the pudding brain after your
COVID
first
brain.
or second shot for a good 24, 48 hours. They got to understand that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Molly. Yeah. 100%. That's just, thank you. Side effects. And I'm telling you, I know who Jeremy Renner is. I know who Jeremy Garner is. And they both have apps where you can buy pictures of their faces, but that doesn't mean they're the same person. In my brain, that is unfortunately how it went. But yeah. So absolutely. I hope that answers a little bit more about who I am. I'm a very well-educated man. I'm very well employed, and I've got a lot of dogs.
Nothing wrong with a lot of dogs.
No.
Nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
I think I know that when you reached out, you wanted to put yourself out in front of the community a little bit more. Those who maybe didn't recognize the FCL, and as the chat, some people who didn't know who you were, you're doing your job. I could say you're doing your job, and you're making yourself known. And I'm very interested to see when you get back and seeing what happens.
Thank you.
And,
I recommend people watch the FCL because they are really doing a great job over there.
If you're not watching the FCL, change that like
See what I
tomorrow
mean?
because the
These
FCL is
guys.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 3 p.m. PST, and see Robert Adams just comes out of nowhere. I'm telling you, they've got a Google alert. They're watching YouTube, just waiting for anyone to mutter their name. It could be anything, any mixture of the two. They're gonna pop out and go, "Who's you talking about me?" Oh, let's talk about ribs.
Oh my God.
Well, Andrew, I think you've definitely used your time wisely during this time here on POV. We thank you so much for stopping by. I do want to ask though, what is your favorite movie snack and your favorite candy, if you don't mind me asking?
Easy. Reese's Pieces. It's the only one I won't finish in the theater. Because that thing, you munch them down hard and then you get hit with a brick in the belly and God, James, you want to stop and then you leave. You leave the theater, you go, you know what? I won't keep these Reese's Pieces, but I'm glad I didn't finish it.
Okay,
It's a confidence boost. You're leaving the rest of the day just feeling accomplished. Well, at least I worked on my diet. I didn't finish all of it.
I like that.
Well, again, thank you so much for hanging out, stopping by. We look forward to seeing you back after your suspension is up and seeing what you do in the FCL.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you letting me come on, Jake. You really warmed up to me afterwards, and
At least I did something right.
There you go.
Well, everyone, clock is right twice a day, so we'll see how you do next time.
All right, Andrew. Well, have a good night. Thanks again.
Of course.
Bye.
Oh my God, I love it.
That was
What
great.
a treat.
That was
What a
great.
treat.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love
That was
it.
great.
Love it.
All right. Well, let's get back into some free for all, guys, because we have we'll take about the next 10, 15 minutes or so. We haven't talked about the winner of this free for all yet. We have,
Oh,
not,
man.
Only my Apollo Yama.
we have not talked about primetime time.
Prime
really
time
wanna
time.
I really want to just play the background music right now.
I know, right? Yeah, David,
Without
you
getting
might-
copyrighted.
You might copyright us, but yeah. Look, Paul has been through. I'm not going to say the ringer the last year, but he's been on kind of like a soul-searching redemption tour, if you will, right?
Yeah.
He was one player when he entered the league. He lost the belt, and he completely flipped as a character, as a player, and he was on the up and up last year. Final exam ended up losing their number one contenders match in the teams. He lost in the singles tournament, and then this year they've just kind of been struggling, right? He obviously beat Bibbs in singles, but they struggled in teams. And he comes out, and we always know that Paul is one of the most dynamic players this league has, period.
Yeah.
He is so well trained in a number of categories that a lot of competitors aren't trained in. Classics, Pixar, like stuff that he just kills in. And it played to his strength. It came down to the wire. It was obviously OT with him and Bateman, which was, to me, like such a great finish. Obviously it's Bibbs and Murrell the past number of free-for-alls. Now it's kind of like these newcomers and Bateman and Oyama. And like Brian mentioned earlier, that reaction he had was so genuine, so real. And it meant so much to him, but also Winston, seeing Winston afterwards as well, what it means to Swag overall. And he gets that title shot. And we come to find out that he can save it for next season. He can save it for the season after. It's just whenever he wants to use it. And he's setting himself up for real good success. And it was really cool because obviously free for all, anybody can win. But I know the four of us collectively, as we were watching, being like, we would love to see Paul Oyama win this.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely cheered quite loud.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys remember the last time Paul won something and the way that Jill reacted,
Wait till you see this one.
this one was better.
Like I said, I literally called him. I was like, answer your phone. And I left a screaming voicemail on his phone. It was I'm always so happy when Paul wins. I was there from the beginning of his Schmoedown journey. I was there when he won the belt. I was there when he lost the belt. I've been there from when he went heel to when he went face, and I've been through the entire thing, and it's so nice just to see how far he's come in really the short span that he's been in the Schmoedown. He's only been in the Schmoedown for about 2.5, 3 years now.
The year he won the title, he was a rookie, I believe.
Yep, he was. He was a rookie.
He went 6-1 or 7-1 or something.
And so it's just so fun to see how far he's come, and you can just see when he plays, whether you know Paul personally or not, you can see when he plays how absolutely passionate he is about the Schmoedown. Yep. He loves this community. He came up from the fan leagues, and him and Chance were one of those first, fan league amazing players that came up and just dominated. And I just can never not be absolutely over the moon whenever Paul wins something, and this was a big one. Just say you won the free-for-all is a lot, and you can tell that by his reaction. And it's just this is looking to be a good year for Paul Oyama, and I think this is really gonna boost his confidence even more. And it's watch out for prime time, because his clock is set, man, and he's coming to get you. He's raring to go, and I'm so stoked for him.
Yeah, and Brian brings up a good point in the chat. The last time Ben and Paul played each other, he got KO'd at Spectacular.
He did.
It was kind of a very personal win for him, not just in the fact that he, like Jill said, the free-for-all is a very coveted prize.
You could see his excitement when Jen left and he knew it was just them two. He was like, bring it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to be there in person, and it was a demoralizing defeat. It was rough. It was really hard to watch. But ultimately, it turned him into the player he kind of always needed to be. And we're starting to really see that. And this isn't just the peak. It's like that uphill climb towards what he can really do. Molly, I know he was going up against your faction mate, but we're all big fans of Paul. It was really cool to see him take this step.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as much as I would have loved to see Bateman go as far as he did and then take the win on this one, I was super stoked to see. You could just tell the look on his face when, he probably thought, okay, Bateman probably knows this, and he's trying to.
You can never trust Bateman.
He's trying to pull a Bateman, which he had trouble doing because there was no countdown. But he did his best. And I think you could just see it on his face when he flipped over his board, and then Paul flipped over his board, and he just it was just pure ecstasy on his face. He was like, oh my god, so I was happy to see him take this win. I was happy to see him and Winston bond over winning the free-for-all, and I can't wait to get him on the show and to talk to him, if we can.
No, get him on here. His schedule is just so wonky right now, but we'll get him on here.
Yeah,
you bet we will.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm just listening to the song on repeat right now on my headphones.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, you could see when it got down to him and Ben, it was perfect. He was like, this is exactly a situation I would love to be in. And the fact that we had to just go to some extra questions and just everything, it was just exactly what you wanted. Yes, exactly what you wanted. And hey, the dungeon didn't win the tournament, but they got points out of it. So
as if they needed more of those.
Exactly. So while Ben didn't win it, they still got something from it. However, you could see that this meant a lot to Paul. He wanted this so bad, and you could just tell. And I mean, let's be honest. Did we want to hear Bateman talk about winning the free-for-all for the rest of our lives?
I could hear Bateman talk or sing about anything.
That is true.
I mean,
if he was going to sing every time, he would announce it. then okay.
If you bust the guitar out, then maybe.
But yeah, no, I think Paul definitely has some tricks up his sleeve, maybe up his little mustache as well. But yeah, he killed it, and just there's a reason Paul is a former champion. Like, I think the greatest thing about him is his knowledge is spread so far
for how young he is.
For how young, exactly. Yeah.
That you have no idea where he can strike from. Like, you can go back and watch all of his matches, and that could still not pinpoint where he could beat you at. And you know, it's just one part of a movie that Bateman hadn't seen or didn't remember. And Paul did. And clearly he knew the answer, because Winston was talking about how Winston knew he knew the answer before it was even done. So the second he turned around and Bateman had it wrong, he already knew that Paul had it won. So, I mean, that also shows a level of like trust with Winston and Paul. Like, the fact that he knew his player knew that answer. I mean, that's huge, because that means they are really working together. It's not just some team and a manager like type thing. And but at the same time, I don't think Winston is that type of manager at all. But I think him and Paul together, I don't see anyone else working as well with Paul than I do Winston.
And you can always just see how invested Winston and his players when they do win big matches like that, because he just gets so emotional, you know. So he's just completely invested in these players, and it's Swag. Like last year, Swag was top 3, top 4.
They got second.
They got second, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're on the top again this season. They're proven, and Winston's one of those just like amazing managers, and I love when Winston wins. I can't help but love when Winston wins. Just because
I love when he jumps up out of his chair and starts yelling in the background. You can't even see his face.
Let's go!
Let's go! Let's go!
I think a lot of it also has to do with we saw what happened with Swag at the beginning of the year, right? With Chandru and Laura and all that stuff. Who helped Winston turn that around? It was Paul. Like, it really is like this 2-man show between the two of them right now. Not to say that's not all of Swag, but really they're the head of it, and to see them succeed is going to trickle down, and that's really going to. It's really just a game of momentum. That's how a lot of sports are, and if a faction catches momentum, like we even saw with Jen. Jen was part of Swag. Like, she was doing good. She had a chance to win. She was part of the final 3. Yes, she got a good draw, but that's all you need in the free for all.
2 of the last 3 were Swag.
It was just their turn. It was their, I guess you can call it a tournament. Their tournament to lose, really. They had all the cards were in their hands, and kudos to Bateman for holding it as long as he did. I do want to point one thing out. I think Jeremy Miller said the MVP gets 3 points. Correct? It wasn't just the one, or was it 3? So I think previously, Jeremy, I think last year or the year before, it was just the 1 point. It's now 3 points for the MVP. So Dungeon got 3 points because of it. Which some people view as a higher value, but when Paul does use that title shot, and he's going to use it very, very he's going to use it in the right spot. That's a chance at least 7 points, which is a big deal.
Now what I want to know about this claiming, I'm going to bring my wrestling terms back in here, but is this like a Money in the Bank thing where he can literally cash it whenever the heck he wants?
So
can he cash it after? So say. There's whenever Dan does his next championship match, whoever wins that championship, can Paul burst in the scene and go, I want to play right now?
Yeah, we saw Sam Levine do it to Dan Murrell a few years ago.
So he can't. Okay.
Dan Murrell defended the title, and Sam Levine literally walked out of the curtain and said, I want to play right now. That could happen.
Frank basically put it up as kind of like a give Christian notice of your plan, and whenever that happens, it'll go down.
So can the other player have no idea?
I mean, essentially, yeah.
I don't know in the digital age if that.
In the digital age, that might be a little.
I mean, they'll know. They're not just going to be like, "Surprise! Get on Zoom. We're going to have a match right now."
Well, yeah.
But I mean, like, he could essentially be like to Grace, "Hey, I want the winner of the teams tournament. Me and Lon want to go for the teams belt, and then whoever comes out of that." Well, I guess it wouldn't be the winner of the teams tournament. It'd be whoever won that match eventually. Mm-hmm. He can play. He's got an automatic.
He's going to use it in singles.
Oh, I know. I'm just that was the first.
No,
thing
it's a conversation to be had though. Whether it is teams or he'd use it in singles. 100. But the key here is, and I believe it, and I think I said it wrong, but he can use it before next year's free for all, and then it's a done deal. But he has a number one contenders match coming, so he already has a path.
So I have a question: could he realistically? So if he gets the number one contender and he wins the number one contender, he plays the champion and he loses.
He can rematch.
Can he rematch right then and there?
He can rematch.
Not literally then and there, but he can. I want a rematch. He could
plan it to where it's literally right then and there. If
couldn't he realistically plan it right after that match?
Absolutely, he can. He can use it whenever he wants. So right now he has the path to a singles belt. If he doesn't get there, he'll probably wait to see who wins out of all of these number one contender matches and everything, mm-hmm. and then challenge that person. Ooh. But I know for a fact he probably either wants Murrell or Bateman. That's who he wants. I mean, because Bateman KO'd him, and he beat Murrell before, and he wants to get the upper hand on Murrell.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he could honestly, because I mean, that singles belt this year is just there's no guarantee who can have it. We can see Dan and Adam battling forever. I mean, it's not far-fetched to say that Kevin Smith could potentially have a shot at taking it. Crazier things have happened. So, I mean, he kind of gets to just sit. I'm sure he has someone in mind, but he can almost kind of sit on it, see how the year goes, see who has it towards the end, and call his shot when need be. So, because like Jake said, he has a chance already. He just has a free shot and whenever he wants. So, I mean, the thing that I find most interesting that Frank and I were talking about was the fact that, say for whatever reason he is the belt holder of singles, does he use it to take a shot at teams to be double belted, or does he hold on to it? It's kind of a crazy theory, because look at it this way. There are so many teams right now that could be holding that team's belt as well. We've got the tournament, which there's that. I mean, Shazam could be holding it. I mean, do you want to have a Lon and you versus Dan and Bateman? Like, there's so many working parts to this that I have a feeling that token's going to be sitting just probably for a little while.
It'll probably sit closer to spectacular.
Yeah.
I do too.
He'll probably wait out to see what happens at the singles tournament and all that type of stuff, and then use it. And it really depends on where the faction is, because if he can get guaranteed points for his faction in a close race, that could be big as well.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. I think that's going to wrap up POV tonight. We're going to head out of here in just a few minutes. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to both Dan Murrell and Andrew Furtado. As much as chaos as Andrew Furtado was causing, I do want to thank him for coming on, letting everybody see who he is and what the FCL is all about. And before we head out, I'll let all the chat know where we can find him online. Molly, I'll let you.
Are we doing match prediction?
No, we'll save those for the reactions.
No, I thought we were doing the FCL one that you made me upload.
We can do an FCL. That's fine. It's fine. We can pull it up real quick.
Who's playing?
Who's playing?
Well, so here's the card right here. We have 2 singles matches. Corgan versus Shimo, and I don't want to butcher his name. I'll say Jin versus Olsen. Sunny from Sunny and Cat. These are the 2 matches this week. I will let Brian start us off.
I am going to say Sunny, and I don't know what the lady's name was, but I like her hair, so I'm picking her.
She's the one who was
Corgan.
She's the Scream Queen.
The Scream
right?
Queen.
Oh, perfect.
She's half of the Scream Queens.
Sure. I'm going to go with her then.
Yeah.
Jill?
I'm probably the same. I think I'm the same.
Molly?
I'm probably the same too, just because I don't know anything about the other players, but I can't wait to find out.
I'm going to go Shimo and Jindoin. I think that's how you say it. Jindoin.
Okay.
I saw his promo video earlier today. He looks like someone who's very exciting. So, all right, that's gonna wrap it up. Let's go ahead and go around the table real quick. Molly, where can everybody find you online?
At Molly Damon on Twitter and Twitch, and got a lot of Bad Batch related things coming up on Star Wars Explained, so you can always catch me and Alex over there. Yeah.
Jill?
Jilly Marie on Twitter and Instagram. 2 Y's, 2 E's. Are we gonna announce our Sunday's guest?
Is it official?
Yes, I just confirmed with him.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's do it.
So speaking of a free-for-all, and the moment of the free-for-all, we will be having the Aussie himself, Jacob London, joining us next Sunday. Also, because her match was now announced, we will also be having Jacob and Taylor Robinson join us on Sunday's episode of POV. So make sure to tune in for that. That'll be a fun one.
That'll be fun. Brian?
You can find me on Twitter, Biavalcino, and Apocalypse Movies. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about Mortal Kombat with Jesse Swift. And what's the other thing other than Mortal Kombat?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale.
Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Or people are calling it Captain America and Bucky.
Yeah.
Cap and Bucky.
Either way.
Choose your poison. But yeah, if you want to talk a little bit more Mortal Kombat and Marvel, I'm just going to say at this point, with Jesse, come on over tomorrow.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jake on all socials, 2 N's because someone else took it before I did. Apocalypse Movies tomorrow. We will be back this week with Wednesday and Thursday reactions because Friday is a gigantic pay-per-view. And if you guys didn't know, if you're not in the Facebook group or anything, the pay-per-view did get shifted. Odd Couple cannot defend this weekend, so things will be shifted for their match in May. So the main card is actually going to be Alex Damon versus Mike Kalinowski with a undercard to be announced.
I kind of don't want to know.
I don't want to. I want
to see faces show up.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Just surprise us.
So that'll be the pay-per-view this Friday. We won't be doing a reaction on Friday because of that event. But we'll discuss it on Sunday with Jacob and Taylor, plus some more conversations there. You can obviously follow POV on Schmoedown POV on Twitter. Hit that Patreon link, guys, if you're interested. We're doing a watch-along this week of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Going to be a really fun one. That's going to be on Thursday. And then our retro reaction for Match in the Past is coming out as well. Again, thank you to Dan and Andrew for coming on. Really appreciate it. Love you guys. Love the crew. All of you in the chat sending in questions, stuff like that. Thank you so much. And for us here at POV, for Molly, Jill, Brian, and myself, we are a certain point of view. And we'll catch you guys later this week.